Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Donna Adelson. Okay, guys, what a day. So life in prison for first-degree murder plus an additional 30 years each for conspiracy and solicitation. Life is mandatory under Florida law for first-degree murder. Of course, we know the state did not seek death. How are you guys doing? I am Moms for Justice. My name is Carolyn. It is so good to be with you all today. Make sure you guys are liking the video. We also have membership open now on the channel. There is a silver and gold, and there's already some goodies up there for you to look at if you become a member. That would be great. And then also, after this section and everything we discussed with Donna Adelson, I do have something a little bit more on the personal side that is crime related that I am going to discuss with you all. So we will do that. How is everybody doing today? Yeah, so I was at the mall the majority of the morning, and then this sentencing started, and I was like, my ears were glued, just completely glued. It's been crazy. So Donna spoke today, guys. Donna spoke. She made quite a lengthy statement, that actually was very similar to a testimony that she declined to do. Right? As we all know, she declined to take the stand and thought she could sneak in a testimony, right? I thought that was really clever. And also, Harvey spoke today, and we got to hear from Harvey. And I don't know about you guys, because I haven't heard anything anywhere about Harvey ever speaking before. So it was the first time everybody heard from Harvey, correct? So yeah, and then we had a bunch of, defense statements that were read. There was a video statement given by Dr. Ben Graber, okay? A longtime friend, okay? He gave a lengthy statement to Donna's wonderful character, but here's the kicker, guys. He was not a close family friend. He was not. He hadn't been involved with either Harvey or Donna for like decades, okay? And he never met Dan Markel and only resurfaced in like 2023 where he came to their aid and some sort of, what do they call it? Amber Heard wrote one. An op-ed was written where he's defending them and that they go way back and all this other stuff. And you know what? They don't go way back. They don't even know him. And he was the first person to give a statement today. I was shocked. I don't know. We're going to get into that too. And then, one of the things that really bothered me today, people, was that Harvey not only attacked the judge and the jury, but he attacked Phil and Ruth Markel, and it was ruthless. It was completely ruthless, and it was just such a dumb move on his part. It did not help his wife, right? It did not. Really annoyed me. Really upset me. So anyway, the judge agreed to request a jail, prison, whatever, near Miami. Understandably so. Let's throw her a bone, right? So at least Harvey can go visit her. $723,000 in restitution and costs. And I know the defense asked for backup documentation on all that. And then here's another thing. Who was in the courtroom today? Well, we were all wondering who was going to show up, right? Who was going to show up? Well, Harvey was there, and that's not, a surprise to me. Of course he's going to be there. How bad would that have looked if Harvey wasn't sitting in the front row? But Ruth and Phil were not there physically, but they joined via Zoom. And guess who was not there? If you thought Wendi was going to be there, then yeah, I don't know what you were thinking. I don't. There's no way she was going to be there. No way. So she was not present. And I assume that is because her attorneys, just like before, have said, don't talk to them, stay out of the public eye, do yourself a favor and just don't get involved, but it speaks volumes. She wasn't there, Okay, so let's begin. So in the beginning, there was a call to order mandatory sentence context, like, the judge notes that Florida law requires life upon the first-degree murder conviction. And, that's just kind of a given, guys. And the only way that she could do anything with that is on appeal. But she was begging for that second and third charge because if she could get that reduced and then win on appeal on the first degree, then she could walk, right? So that's a possibility too. Okay, so Ben Graber, what did he say? He testified that he believes Donna is innocent. He expressed all this sympathy to both families. He talked about bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, or was that? No, actually, maybe that wasn't him. He couldn't have gone to any of those. But he talked about what wonderful people they are. And I was like, okay, this is that same guy. This is that same guy that showed up in 2023. He's got this love triangle theory about Katie Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia and Charlie Adelson, and that their love triangle was just kind of contained to only being that. And that was the only reason why this murder happened, and that Donna had nothing to do with it. And just ridiculous. But it just completely blows my mind that he has not hung out with these people in so long, and then to put him on as your the first person you put up, you would think would be like one of your most strongest, like punch him in the stomach with this guy, right? Well, that was just awful. It was just awful. It didn't make her look very good. But you know what? They didn't say. We all know that he didn't really have much to do with the Adelsons in the last 20 years. But, I will say, and I'm just thinking of this right now, maybe the people in the courtroom that were listening to his statement did not know that. Those poor people, they probably thought, oh, this is a guy who's known them for years. He's really close to them, I don't think they were privy to the knowledge that he's just some guy that they used to know back in the day. Crazy. Okay. And then Harvey. Okay, there was a couple other statements, that old couple that testified, the elderly couple that testified in the actual Donna Adelson trial. I heard their names, those were familiar. There was the mother of Roman Adelson. So, in case you don't know, some people actually don't know this, but a lot of people do. Charlie had a baby with a woman named Bree. This was not a serious relationship. This is, had some fun. The girl got pregnant and he didn't want the baby at first, but the Bree wanted to have the baby and all that. And they ended up having Roman, but apparently Charlie didn't even want that child. And then of course the baby came and, it's like, crap or get off the pot, right? So he decided to be daddy. And I guess for a short time, after Roman was born, there was some, grandma bonding between Donna and Jessica is her name. This is Bree's mother, Jessica. And she gave a statement about what a wonderful person Donna is. And I was like, okay, she really doesn't know Donna. You came late to the party, Jessica, right? And then there's a couple other names, but most of them sounded like people that, her, like one of her best friends, if not her best friend. I don't even think she was English speaking. She was from Israel, moved to Queens, moved to Queens, met Donna, and Donna was the one who helped her with things in life, helped her get ahead, helped her, and she to me was the most credible character witness because, she goes way back. They were good friends. So I thought that was a good one, because everybody needs character witnesses, right? We all need them. Even if we, made the biggest mistake of our life, no matter how evil it is, I'm sure there's somebody that you could think of that you could call in your circle that would come to bat for you. And that sounded like one that was very reasonable for me. So yeah. Are you guys liking the video? Make sure you guys are liking this video. So, all right. So there's that. And then we've got, Harvey. So I'm going to go right into Harvey. I do have a clip of Harvey that I will play it. If you guys heard when the show started, like all of a sudden all my videos started playing. So I apologize for that. Let me just rewind here. I've got it. The way she looks at him. Okay. Let's get right to it.
Being a trial lawyer for 45 years, I fully believe in the jury system and understand that a jury
affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
Yes, I do.
You can lower your head. You may speak.
Okay. Thank you, Judge, and respected officers of the court for allowing me to speak. I have been Donna Adelson's husband for over 50 years. My wife sacrificed everything so that she could pour her heart and soul into our children, our grandchildren, and our marriage. This summer was our 54th wedding anniversary, and I had to spend it without her, hand in mine. She has done nothing wrong, and yet is being punished for a crime that she did not commit.
She has done nothing
I thought
wrong.
we lived in a different kind of world, but I guess I was wrong. I have listened, watched, and sat in the courtroom for the entire trial, and I could not help but scream in my mind by the witnesses that were brought forward by the prosecution who told outright lies. I didn't know that you could lie in a courtroom, but apparently you can. Danny's parents contend that they have never seen their grandchild. But for years they say they've never seen her. But Wendi has shared with me pictures and videos and letters from their visits. They have suffered immensely at the loss of their son, but they also contend to tell lies to the court about our grandchildren. Donna has always been a loving and caring wife and is innocent of the charges. A biased judge and jury were influenced by years of one-sided news pieces and social media.
Dr. Ms. Fulford, this has nothing to do with the character of the defendant or relates to sentencing.
May I just one moment, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh,
So yeah, so I was like, at first I was like, you know what, let the guy talk. I mean, it's not like she's going to get off or anything. Like, you know what I mean? Let him say his piece. It is her husband. It might not be appropriate for the court, but I would personally, if I was, I understand Everett's ticked off, but I'd be like, let the guy talk. It's her husband. He's But I will say, it is an attack on the court, the things he's saying. It's just his tone, right, guys? It's like so angry. You can feel the anger. The comments about the Markells is just, that's beyond awful. Beyond. But you know what? Actually, him talking will sink her even more, which it did, right? And on appeal, too. It could hurt her on appeal. Because people don't forget. They don't forget.
Just 1 second, please.
What an insult to the Markells, who are listening, by the way. They're on a Zoom call right now listening.
All right, thank you for letting me continue.
I'll let him continue.
Donna did not participate in the heinous acts that she was convicted of doing. You are sending an innocent woman to prison. You have taken my wife, and you have taken my life as well. And for what? This is not justice. It is vengeance, and it is wrong.
Saying you, Judge
You
Everett.
have an examination for Dr. Adelson.
No, Your Honor. No, Judge.
Any other witness statements that you wish to give?
I don't believe so. Just 1 second.
Okay, so we'll pause that for a second. Yeah, like it's one thing to be angry in general that your wife is, being found guilty, which blows my mind because how could he not know what happened here? For a second, it makes you think, is it possible he really believes she's innocent? I mean, weren't you with her for the money drop? Weren't you with her? Didn't you hear all these things? I mean, I don't know, people. It's very, very odd to me. And the confidence in the innocence in the way he's delivering this statement, I don't know. But when he said, you took my wife from me, it's not like, I don't know. It's really bad. It's very insulting. And I think Judge Everett was, he's got it. He remembers. He ain't going to forget. So what did you guys think about Harvey? Did he give you, for a split second, like an idea of maybe, well, is it possible that he really isn't involved, that he is really kind of in the dark? Could he have thought the one-way ticket to Vietnam was just for her peace of mind, that she needed to get away, and that she was just, or it could have been, like, hang with me here, don't get upset. But what if Harvey thought, well, they put our son away, and, they could put Donna away, and I'm just going to take her and get her out of here, one-way ticket, never come back, because they're not going to believe my wife, who I think is innocent. Is that possible? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me get some comments going here. Love for Florida. Hi, how are you tonight? They think she doesn't deserve to lose her life over saying something that caused a death. They are not like those thugs. True, they're distinguished. Like, come from money. How could anybody believe that we would do something like that, right? Let's see. No Adelson crime family. Okay. Yeah. Zen Jen, hi. Sherry Presley says Harvey's a hothead. I would agree. No, and you know what? I'm surprised by this. Lisa says Harvey doesn't seem as frail as Donna suggests. He's guilty. So yeah, like I will say, when he says the first word out of his mouth on the statement, I was in the car. I had my phone like propped up, and I'm listening to it, and I'm driving, and he says the first word, and it was like so loud and with so much like gusto. I was like, whoa! I was like, okay. All right, here we go. I did not expect him to sound that way, to assert himself that way, right? Harvey's not such a a schmuck after all, right? That's what I was thinking. The man behind the mask, the man of mystery is what I got from it. He definitely shocked me. Richard says, I'm torn about Harvey. Wendi, I am not. Yeah, Harvey, there's not enough evidence on Harvey. But there sure is a lot of suspicion on Harvey. And how many people in here are married? Let's just get this out. Who's married here? Okay. I'm married. Okay. I don't know what your marriage is like, but I think in most, in marriages that are somewhat solid and good like mine, I know what's going on every 2 seconds with my husband. I know exactly what he's up to. He knows what I'm up to. You know what I mean? And it's hard to hide things that are nefarious unless you're you live very separate lives. You're one of these people that, you have separate bank accounts and you hardly see each other and all that kind of thing. Okay, maybe those people that could get away with keeping something. But most marriages are they're solid ground. There's just no way. How would he not ask questions, right? I mean, I believe without a shadow of a doubt they got it right with Donna. Absolutely. I think there was money that was wet. I think there was a money drop off. I think that they, went to Charlie's immediately after hearing from Wendi about the murder. I believe they drove to his house first and all of that. So with that in mind, how could he be sitting there? And you heard him. He don't sound like no dummy. He don't sound like he's, an idiot, and I thought maybe he was kind of like this, cuckoo, maybe on his last leg, a little bit of Alzheimer's. Maybe he, she wears the pants in the family. That was the impression I was getting. Maybe in that case, he could get away with making us think that he had nothing to do with it. But, after I just heard the way he was talking, and then you think about him being in the car with her, and how does he not know? It just doesn't compute for me. So, kudos to the person calling Harvey in court today. I love that. It was so good for us all to hear from him. It was like little mini testimony. I loved it. Pennypacker 0602 says Harvey is guilty. Hi, how are you tonight? Heidi. Hi, Heidi. Harvey just confirms the entitlement of the Adelsons except for Rob. Right, of course. Rob is right, what a sweetheart. And Wendi testified that Harvey agreed with everything Donna wrote in her email, so he's just as guilty. Yeah. But it's just, wow. I mean, he's the dentist. He owned the Adelson Institute, except for the short time that Charlie owned it. But then he buys it back, right? So he had his wits about him to buy it back. Okay, Quantum Wannabe. We don't know all of the evidence Georgia Kappelman has on Wendi or Harvey. Correct. And as we know that in Donna's trial, there was all these little juicy nuggets that came out that we were like, oh, we didn't know she had that, right? She had several things that came out, and they were big surprises for us, So, yeah. How about that calendar entry, people? Donna's calendar entry was huge. Robert Adelson was top of the list, okay? Your own son getting on the stand and burying you was huge. And then that calendar entry, I mean, why else in 2014, the year that he dies, why is it that his license plate tag number is written in your calendar? Crazy. Let's see. Precious Gem. Hello. Harvey knows. Money drop off. Checks to Katie. Talking to Charlie at the restaurant. Gabe, Katie, his cat, and much more. Okay. Thought I knew everything about this case. What is Katie, his cat? Did I miss something? Or is that like a code word for something? Somebody called Harvey's cell phone during court is what I was referring to. Right. Sigfredo was looking for Charlie because Sigfredo was insanely jealous when he found out that Katie and Charlie were getting it on, and he wanted to find Charlie, and he was mistaking Harvey's phone number for Charlie's. So he called and he didn't answer. It was just probably somebody breathing on the end of the phone, sitting there listening. When Sigfredo answered the phone, he realized, when Harvey answered the phone, I'm sure Sigfredo realized, wait, this can't be him. It sounds like an old guy, right? Hi, Clarissa. How are you? We got moderators on tonight. I've got Richard and, oh gosh, Clarissa is on. I know I'm leaving somebody out. But anyway, be kind to your moderators. Thank you guys. You guys are the best. So appreciate you. Oh, Precious Gem goes, sorry, I gave Katie his car. Right, his car. I think that was like a Mercedes, right? But yeah, that would have been funny if it was a cat too. All right. Harvey ripped off the mask today. We now know exactly who he is, complicit. Well, until we see a trial for him, we'll know for sure about that. We have our suspicions. But as far as seeing exactly who he is, we definitely have a better picture. Excuse me, I got to take a sip of my Gatorade. We definitely have a better picture. I'm trying to move out of the way of the microwave. The microphone. So a week ago, somebody goes, don't drink while you're on. We can hear you swallow. So I'm trying to move away when I take a drink. I get it. You know, we YouTubers, we have our thing, right? I know I lip smack a lot. If I take a sip, you're going to hear me swallow. My mic is a very, very, very high tech. We're musicians in this house, so I have a very high tech mic. It picks up everything, so I apologize. The problem, Quantum Wannabe, the problem with the date book entry of Dan's license plate was that Donna could have gotten it when she baked Dan the banana bread 1 week before the murder. But why? My question to you is, why write it down? Why is it so important to write it down in your calendar? You know? And it just happens to be the car that needs to be followed by 2 hitmen. I mean, really, help me understand that. Why else would you write it down? He's a grown adult. It's not like she needed his plate to, like, I don't know, find parts or look up his VIN number or what. I don't know. I can't think of anything. Give me something. Give me something. We're going to go on to Donna in a second because she's good. She's good. And then I do have something that I want to talk to you all about at the end. So hang in there with me. We'll do that. No evidence that she baked anything for Dan. Right. I mean, that just could have been Wendi blowing smoke, right? She baked Danny banana bread to prove to Georgia Kappelman that there was no problems between my mother and Dan. None. She baked him banana bread. Yeah. Well, let's see. Guys, membership is open on Moms for Justice. You get badges and all those little goodies when you guys post. I also have shorts for the silver plan, and I will put up exclusive videos before anybody else gets them. There is one up there now. It's kind of reconfigured video. No, it's not really available to anybody else unless you're a member. If you're interested in doing that, it's there. It's up to you guys. All right. So let's move on to Donna. So who was shocked that Donna spoke today? I'm not shocked. I actually thought that it was definitely going to happen today, that we were going to hear from her. because I think she really regretted not taking the stand in her trial. And it's obvious when you hear this, it's going to be obvious to you that when you hear it, that she is utilizing her position to give her reasons why she should have leniency, but instead she's using it to testify, right? To testify. And I was like, pretty blown away by it. So here, let's play it.
Or here.
She can remain at council table.
Thank you. I'm going to move the microphone.
Let's take a listen. Thank you guys for your memberships. I so appreciate you. Thank you. I'll make sure I give you goodies.
I need to speak loudly because this is not amplified.
Okay. Is this loud enough, Judge?
I can hear you.
Thank you for letting me speak. My son-in-law, Dan Markell, was a fine and decent man.
He was.
He was well educated and passionate about his career. He was a good son-in-law, but more importantly, he was a caring and loving father.
The best.
On July 18th, 2014, his car was followed, leaving his home. It should have been just like any other day, an ordinary day in the life of Ben and Lincoln's father, but it wasn't. He didn't know when he left his boys off at daycare that would be the last time he would see them, and the last time they would see him. He didn't know when he went to the gym afterwards that would be the last time he would exercise. And he didn't know when he drove home that his life would end within minutes. Danny wasn't just being followed, he was being hunted.
He was.
He was brutally murdered in broad daylight, sitting in his car, in his garage, by vicious killers.
And you.
I cannot imagine the terror he felt when he saw a gun pointed at him through the window of his car. I cannot conceive of his heroic efforts to stay alive during the hours after the attack. Danny died in the early morning hours of July 19th. His death is a loss to his children.
And all alone.
His parents.
And all alone.
His sister. All of us in his family. His friends. His colleagues in the legal community. And to his students at FSU Law School. Danny's boys each have a photo of themselves with their Abba, their dad, beside their beds. They grew up kissing the framed photo and saying, "Good night, Abba, I love you." But pictures and memories are all they have because cruel, cold-hearted people took him from all of us who loved him. My heart was broken when Danny died. My grandsons were going to grow up without the father who loved them. I wondered, how could we help these boys through this trauma? It was then that my husband and I knew that the best way to honor Danny's memory would be to share with these children an abundance of love, the love that Danny would have given them if he were alive. It is interesting how the state can't make up its mind about who is what they call the, quote, mastermind behind this murder. In both of Catherine Magbanaw's trials, the state claimed she was the mastermind behind Danny's murder. In my son Charlie Adelson's trial, they claimed he was the mastermind. And now in my trial, they claimed that I, this grandma, was the mastermind behind the murder.
This grandma.
I had no idea that other people planned to cut Danny's life short. And the people who did this are exactly where they deserve to be. But I had no knowledge that this horrible, evil act was going to take place. If I had become aware of this plan before Danny was murdered, I would have stopped it. With not one iota of actual evidence, the state convinced a Tallahassee jury that I solicited and conspired with other people to have Danny killed. Where is the evidence prior to the murder? The evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that the state needed to prove their case. Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 in the morning?
Before you continue, Mrs. Adelson, as it relates to this statement, is the defense trying to re-argue the trial?
No, Judge, just giving Adelson an opportunity to be heard.
Mrs. Adelson, you certainly can continue. However, the court can take into consideration the utter lack of remorse that you are displaying. Please proceed if you desire to do so.
Let me just say this real quick, okay, in between. What bothered me about this is that one of the reasons why she did not testify was because of her fear of Georgia Cappleman. She knew that she would completely sink if she was cross-examined by Georgia Cappleman. So she decided not to, and you made your decision. You know, you make your bed, you lie in it, right? And here she is trying to get in her testimony, which she thinks is going to protect her. And I was like a little disappointed that Everett didn't say, hey, listen, you didn't testify, and Georgia should be allowed now to turn around and, come back at her or question her, but it's not a trial. And that's her way of trying to be sneaky and slip in what she wanted to say when she was on the stand, right? And then the second thing was what did he just say to her? I lost my train of thought. He just said to her about, when it comes back to me, I'll pause it and then let you know.
Where is the evidence before July 18th, 2014 at 10:50 a.m. that revealed that I had any involvement in this vile and horrific act? Where is the solicitation and conspiracy evidence? The state needed to show that there was evidence before the murder to convict me. The state couldn't show that because there wasn't any evidence. They were trying an innocent person. It makes you wonder if the jurors were sleeping when the state had Sergeant Corbett on the stand for hours. Their own star witness testified that my phone was never, I repeat, never at my son's house on the night of the murder. The state's theory that my husband and I dropped off money to my son was blown out of the water by their own witness. And yet, the state continued to push that story, that lie of the so-called money drop, to the jury through the remainder of the trial. And the jury bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Reasonable doubt. Many months ago, my attorneys filed a motion for a change of venue. An expert witness testified that Tallahassee had been barraged with over 9 years of negative social media, printed news, television news, and podcast publicity about my family. He explained to the court, both with evidence and demonstratives, that for me to receive a fair trial, it needed to be held in any of the researched and designated areas in the state of Florida other than Tallahassee. All I wanted was a level playing field, but the court wanted the trial here in the hotbed of Tallahassee. I sat through 3 days of jury selection. 180 potential jurors were asked if they had developed an opinion in my case. Those that answered yes also added, I believe she is guilty. Not one person, not one, said, I think she may be innocent. That should have been a clue to the court to grant our motion for a change of venue, but the court denied the motion. One of my jurors admitted during jury selection that she had background information concerning what one of the state's witnesses would be testifying about. Why was she allowed to be on my jury?
What moment?
Another juror.
Mrs. Fulford,
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Mr. Zellman, again, this has nothing to do with elocution of any sort. This is a raising of grievances which are properly given to the appellate court. What does any of this have to do with sentencing?
Could I have just one moment, please?
Yeah, so what I meant before was about remorse. He said, keep in mind that your lack of remorse will be considered in my sentencing of you. And then wait when you hear what Zellman does later. But let me see if I can skip through this. How long they take here?
Lack of
All right.
innocence.
Hold on. All right.
Please.
What happened to Danny is unforgivable. But I am an innocent woman convicted of this terrible crime without evidence. Danny was a brilliant legal scholar. He would have been appalled at the total lack of justice that went on during my trial. He would have been embarrassed to have his name associated with any of it. There are two crimes here. The first was Danny being viciously murdered.
Give me a break.
The second one is taking my life, the life of an innocent woman. Convicting me should not be retribution for Danny's death. That is not justice for Dan. I've always respected the law. I've never gotten a parking ticket, but I'm going to prison for a murder I did not commit. I do intend to file an appeal so that hopefully I have the opportunity to be given a fair trial outside of Tallahassee. 11 years ago, Danny was murdered and taken from all of us who loved him. For the past 9.5 years, the state has broadcast to the world, including Danny's parents and sister, that I hired hitmen to kill him. Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something that would leave these two small boys to grow up without him. I love these boys more than life itself. This is a lifetime of loss for these children. They didn't deserve this. His family didn't deserve this. Danny didn't deserve this. And so, as I appear before you today, Your Honor, I promise you with my whole heart, I swear to you on my life, I was not involved in any way with Danny's murder. I was not.
Defense have any?
She talks about Danny, who we all loved. That really got me because everything that we've seen from Donna Adelson, her wiretap calls, emails, testimony from everyone else, right? All these other witnesses. She hated him. She absolutely couldn't stand the guy. And for her to have the gall to sit up there and say who we use the word we all loved is just, I think it every time she would say something like that, it was like kicking Everett under the desk that he's sitting at. Just another thing. This woman doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. You know, so if there was going to be any leniency, that went out the window back in the beginning when Harvey started talking, because he insulted him too. This jury and this court taking my wife from me. Excuse me? The evidence showed your wife couldn't stand Danny Markell. And I'm not going to say Danny Markell anymore because you know what? Ever since Fulford started saying Danny, it makes me ick to say Danny now because I feel like that's a very personal name, Danny, as opposed to Dan. And I feel like, you know what? His closest people are probably the only ones who can call him that. I just like, I couldn't believe the way she was talking. Like, how can you sit there and act like you cared about him and cry and all that? You know what she's crying about? She's crying about the fact that she has to sit in a jail cell with Large Marge for the rest of her life. That's why she's crying. You know? No more, fancy dinners, no more, banquets and dances and bars and mitzvahs, and no more palm trees and beach, no more being with your sunshines. It's just really, she's crying for herself, right? Penny Packer agrees. She's crying for herself. Let's see. Anybody got any questions? Pop them on up here. Come on. I don't know if I can answer them, but I'll certainly try with what I know. Yeah, that's a big one. Right? Wait until she meets her maker. Yeah. No more air conditioning. That's right. Is there any prison that has air conditioning? Are there any prisons out there that are like considered luxury? Like maybe, some have more perks than others, including air conditioning or better food. Judy, nobody else wanted Dan murdered. Nobody. Well, Wendi. I will say she makes a good point. All the evidence proves that Donna was behind all this. But there is nothing documented in an email or anything where she actually says, I want him dead. But Wendi said it. Wendi said it to Jeff. Wendi said something along the lines of, I'm not going to be able to leave and leave Tallahassee unless something happens to Dan. Now, I know it wasn't the word dead, but then Wendi took it a step further and pulled Jeff aside right before the murder, saying, my brother really did try to, order a hit on Dan. So it doesn't make Donna not, it doesn't make her not guilty or anything. I'm just saying, but unreal. Clarissa says it's not really AC, it's more Luke, a fan system. So they have like you mean plug-in fans in the prisons? I don't think anyone's going to bother Donna in prison, though. I think she's going to be loved and, treated well because of her age. Okay, now I've heard that most of them, they have tablets. They've got the, so they've got there's like a kiosk that they have. They go to a kiosk. I know in Leon County Jail, they have a kiosk that you go to, you sit down, and, there's a certain amount of money, though, that pays for your time to use it. You sit at the kiosk, you can do your banking, you can go on the web, you can make calls from it. I don't know if you can FaceTime. I think that would be considered a privilege. I mean, how many prisoners would be like, getting random girls to FaceTime them and do whatever? It'd be like an OnlyFans fest, right? in the prison. But, you get the kiosk and all that. So yeah, those are all perks. But do they have anything that they get to take back to their room? I don't know. Like TVs or anything like that. So anyway, guys, they asked for 3 years for each of those second and third counts. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Because she's such a wonderful grandma. She's such a wonderful grandma. She should only get 3 years for murdering and taking away the father of her grandchildren. Unbelievable. The judge interrupted her twice, warning the court is considering remorse in this case. And that it was, veering into retrying the case was what she was trying to do by speaking the way she was. Basically saying, you know what, your verdict sucked, Judge Everett. That's what she was basically saying to him. Courts, they look for responsibility and remorse when you're sitting at the table giving a statement for yourself. Now, yeah, she's crying and talking about how wonderful Danny was and that, he was a huge loss and everything, but there was no remorse really for what happened to him and her role in it, which was clearly proven. I know you can't really get around that. I mean, are there people out there that have been, convicted and are super, like really, truly innocent, right? And then try to imagine if she was innocent, like really innocent, like for real, did nothing, was set up, whatever. And the worst luck in the world that all this evidence points to her. And maybe for whatever reason, she's not, which is not true. But if she was really innocent, what else is she going to say? I mean, of course she's going to say, I didn't do it. I'm not responsible for this. And she's not going to show remorse for something that she didn't do. So she was probably instructed to not show that kind of remorse. I don't know. It's like, I'm really weird like that. Like I get into these like deep thoughts where I'm like, okay, if somebody was really innocent, then a judge saying you're showing no remorse, that's what we're looking for here. And the person's not showing remorse. Well, of course they wouldn't show remorse if they were wrongfully convicted, right? Not the case here, but I was just wondering. I was going off on a tangent. I do that. No remorse, Brad says. Not a zilch, not a bit of remorse, just anger at the world that she got caught. Yeah. And you know what? She probably convinced herself she's innocent. I mean, I think that's what you do. When you're sitting in a really, like a little box of a cell and you've got nothing else going on, you start saying, of course I didn't do that. And no, I didn't do that. And you start coming up with your other theories about what could have caused, what people don't realize. This is what I really did. And I really wasn't part of this murder. And here's my story. And then you run that story over and over and over in your mind and you memorize it. And you keep telling yourself that you were the one who was duped. You were the one that was strung along. You were set up. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that you could convince yourself you're innocent, even though in the way back you did it? Can you convince yourself that you really did nothing and then actually start to believe that yourself? Journey to Get There says, one thing, Donna has forfeited her retirement money, and that's gone. She don't get it in prison. Well, who's to say that Harvey didn't do some, finagling with finances and maybe, put money someplace. I mean, she might have plenty of money coming in from Harvey. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a sip and I'm going to mute myself while I do it. All right. So, after all that, she gets her life without parole, as we all knew was going to happen. And then 30 years each. I mean, her face, right? Her face. She was standing there and she was at one point, if you look they did like a side shot. I thought she was going to fall down. I mean, did she really think? I don't know. All right. So, guys, I have something I want to run by you. And I hope you guys are open to listening to it. And I'm just carefully opening up a can of worms here because I was asked to by a family member. And I'm testing it out on you guys. You guys are the first ones to hear it today. Okay. So, how do I say this? I am, my niece, okay, is the daughter of a famous boxer, Arturo Gatti. And Arturo Gatti died a long time ago, 16 years ago. He died. She is the daughter of Arturo Gatti. and a relative of mine. So that makes her my niece. And that relationship didn't work out. And Arturo Gotti went on and got married and had a baby, a boy, Arturo Jr. And 16 years ago, Arturo Gotti was found dead in an apartment in Brazil with him and his new wife. And the baby boy was there, which is my niece's brother. They said at first that it was murder and that his wife murdered him. And they arrested her. And she was held in a Brazilian jail for, I think it was like a week, maybe. Anyway, they let her out all of a sudden when it looked like murder. They let her out and said, "You're free to go." It was suicide by hanging. And they're saying that he had hung himself with a purse strap in Brazil. And she got, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say whether she did it or not, but for 16 years, it was a very suspicious death. He's a world famous boxer, Arturo Gotti, and now he's gone. So that brings me to now. Arturo Gotti Jr., the brother of my niece, he grew up and he's 17 years old and he was following in his father's footsteps and was, training with Mike Tyson, working with other trainers, and him and his mother, the same woman, moved to Mexico to get him better training, and he was found dead this past Monday. So my niece has lost her father and her brother, Arturo Jr., and you can look it up, Arturo Gotti Jr. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because I would never have probably talked about this on this podcast because I just didn't want to go there because it was family. But I've been asked, she wants to do a live interview because she's trying to find a way to raise enough money to transport his body from Mexico back to Canada, which is where he's originally from. And she's the only one that can go there and get it. His death has been, is raising questions as well. So that is about all I'm going to say about the case, but I was wondering what you guys thought about that. Are you boxing fans? Do you know who Arturo Thunder Gotti is? Well, his niece, his daughter is my niece. So curious if anybody's interested in following the case. Not only that, helping me get the word out, maybe. She would come on and I would interview her possibly. And even, even if somebody could not help, like I know she's got a GoFundMe out there to try to help raise enough money to transport his body because it's sitting over there in Mexico right now. But even just you viewing it and any proceeds that I make from anyone viewing it, I would just give to her as a, naturally, of course, I would give it to her. But I do think it's interesting, and I would, I'm considering doing that this week, and I wanted to know if you guys wanted to follow it, maybe look into it a little bit. And then you could just go ahead and share the link to the GoFundMe with everybody you know. We can just get the word out there for her. I would really, really appreciate it. So that's what I wanted to run by you guys today. And Eminem. Yeah. I'm not going to make a comment on what I think just yet. I was told to kind of just give the basics. And I could let his daughter, who I'm going to interview, speak to that. But I think she's being really careful right now. So she just wants her brother and wants answers to why her brother is gone. And, there's news articles out there that are saying there's a couple different stories out there, but one of them is saying that it's eerily similar to his dad's death. And it is the same person. His mother was with him at the time that this happened. And it's the same woman that was with Arturo Sr. 16 years ago in a Brazilian hotel. So there's that. So let me know, guys, if you're interested, and I can go ahead and, maybe plan a live stream, or I could maybe pre-record it with her first and then do a live stream afterwards. And then I would give you guys a heads up so that you guys could schedule put on your schedule to hop on and give her some support. We would just really, really appreciate it. So that is it. Did you guys have any other, do you guys have any questions for me about today's live stream what we're doing right now. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, just please pray for her. Pray for her because, she's lost her dad and her brother now. So it's been really hard for us. I'm married. She's my niece through marriage. So she is my husband's sister's mother. I'm sorry. She's my niece. So my husband's sister is the mom. Yes. So, yeah, we will do that. Thank you so much, guys. I so appreciate it. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and share to the channel. And did you guys not hear anything I said? Or you guys hear me now? Hopefully you guys heard me. Can you guys hear me now? Are we good? Can you hear me? Yay, nay? Oh, that's why. Okay, how about now? How about now? Answer. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. What did you guys not hear any of the story I told you about my family? Well, you must have heard it. So it's just probably muted for a short time, right? Okay. All right. But did you guys hear all of what I said? Oh no, I muted myself by mistake. I'm so sorry. Oh no. Right, but did I pretty much tell you the gist of the story? Did you guys get it all? Okay. All right. So you heard the story about what happened in Brazil and you heard, okay. All right. So yes, I will let you guys know. And I'm so sorry about that. Crazy me. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We'll talk soon. Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.